They made a statement. What the Golden State Warriors pulled off against the Houston Rockets wasn't just a hard-fought win by a narrow margin of 109 to 106. It was a warning shot, a clear, emphatic message. To the rest of the NBA, this team isn't just hanging around for another playoff run. They're here to take over. This wasn't just about executing plays or putting up numbers. It was about attitude, grit, and a sense of unity that only teams with championship DNA carry into a game. You could feel it. Every possession mattered. Every hustle play. Every switch on defense. Every perfectly timed shot. It all added up to one of the most meaningful performances the team has delivered all season. From the start, the Warriors approached this fourth game with an urgency that made it feel like a game 7. There was no playing it safe. There was no coasting. The energy was different. And that's exactly why the rest of the league should be paying attention. Because when the Warriors lock in like this, when every player knows their role and executes it with laser focus, it becomes nearly impossible to match their rhythm. They may not always dominate on the scoreboard, but what they do is mentally exhaust their opponents. They wear teams down. They force mistakes. They force you to second guess every move. And that's when they strike. One player, even battling through physical limitations, dropped 27 points and made his presence felt in every quarter. Another rained down 6 3-pointers like it was practice. And then there was that guy, never the most flashy, never the one hogging the headlines, but in just 13 attempts, he made pivotal contributions that shifted the momentum. And on defense, one player stood out like a wall. Even carrying 5 fouls, he held his matchup to just 3 makes in 12 attempts. That's elite. That's the kind of defense that wins playoff series. And there was one play, a single block timed with absolute perfection that lit up the bench and completely shifted the mood in the arena. That wasn't just a block. That was a message. One coach, trying to sum it up later, didn't hold back. He called this defender the best he's ever seen. Said the guy always shows up when it matters most. And if you watch the final minutes of the game, you know exactly what he meant. That player didn't just defend, he disrupted everything. Passing lanes, drives, off-ball movement, he was everywhere. And what makes this even more wild is that he wasn't doing this alone. Because right beside him was another player, also rising to the moment, also making sure his name will be remembered when this series is talked about years from now. This isn't just a team with talent. This is a team with identity, with chemistry, with belief. And sometimes that matters more than stats. But I don't get it twisted. This group has the numbers too. And speaking of chemistry, let's talk about the heart and soul of this squad. One player, who's always had a flair for the dramatic, gave 2 interviews after the game that sent shockwaves through the NBA world. Not because of what he did statistically, but because of what he said. When asked about an on-court interaction with a rival player, one that seemed playful, even humorous to the fans, he cut right through the noise. A reporter tried to frame it as fun, suggesting there was laughter and joking. But the answer came cold, calm, and crystal clear. There's no fun. This is competition. That line alone could have been the trailer for the entire game. It told you everything you needed to know about where this team's head is at. They're not here to make friends. They're not here to smile for the cameras. They're here to win and nothing else. And that intensity, that killer instinct, it's contagious. It spreads through the locker room like wildfire. And you could see it again when that same player spoke about a teammate not known for defense, but who stepped up in a huge way that night. He said, "I don't usually give compliments, but tonight he earned it." That might seem small, but in a group like this, that kind of recognition hits different. It shows how much this team values effort over ego. It shows how every player, no matter their reputation, can rise to the occasion when it's needed most. And fans took notice. Social media exploded with memes, jokes, and tributes. One photo from the team's flight to Houston went viral. A t-shirt, half joking, half iconic, celebrated a player's surprise defensive showing. It was the kind of inside joke that only happens when a team is truly in sync, when everyone's bought in. Even in press conferences, players were poking fun, giving each other breaks, lifting the mood without ever letting go of that edge. That camaraderie, that's what separates contenders from pretenders. It's the stuff no stat sheet can capture. And Then, out of nowhere, another storyline emerged. One of the younger players on the roster, just 22 years old, only in his second season, decided it was time to make his mark. Up to this point, he'd struggled. In Game 2, he scored 0, missed all 5 of his shots, missed both free throws. Game 3, just 1 bucket on 6 attempts. He was being counted out by fans, by analysts, maybe even by himself. But then something clicked. He saw a stat before Game 4 that changed everything. It listed the top scorers in the series so far. His name was buried, not even close. And that lit a fire. He realized he was falling behind, that he had to prove he belonged. And oh, did he prove it? In Game 4, he shot 9 for 18 from the field, drilled 6 3-pointers, ended with 26 points, and an entirely new narrative. This wasn't just a bounce back, it was a breakout. And the best part? He did it all while staying locked in on both ends. It's performances like that which show you who has that playoff DNA. And to think he's only 22, just imagine what's coming. Now the league has a real problem. Because the Warriors aren't just winning, they're evolving. They now lead the series 3-1, and historically, teams in that position close it out 96% of the time. But forget history for a second. Just watch what's happening on the court. Watch how players are stepping up. One is playing at a finals MVP level. Another is anchoring the best defense in the playoffs this year. And the rest of the rotation, they're delivering in ways nobody expected, giving solid minutes, making the smart plays, hitting timely shots. This is a well-oiled machine. Questions swirled before the series. Could this team go deep again? Was the dynasty over? Did they still have the juice? Now those questions are being answered in real time. Because even when their star player isn't dropping 40, they're still finding ways to win. That's depth. That's maturity. That's championship culture. They've got guys grabbing 12 rebounds, setting hard screens, switching onto guards, and doing the dirty work that never makes the highlight reels, but always wins games. And let's talk strategy. Because this coaching staff, still elite. The head coach pulled a tactical move late in the game that flipped everything. He switched up the defense, tweaked the matchups, and suddenly the Rockets looked completely out of sync. That kind of adjustment, that's what separates great coaches from good ones. He saw the game changing, made the right call, and watched his team execute it flawlessly. And now the path ahead looks wide open. They've got the momentum, they've got the confidence, and maybe most importantly, they've got the formula. What's happening here isn't just about advancing to the next round. It's about building something real again. This group looks like a mix of the 2015 Warriors and the 2022 version that won it all. That's scary. That's the type of combination that breaks teams down. Because it's not just about winning, it's about how they win. When the Warriors start rolling, they don't just beat you, they unravel you. They get in your head, they blow up your schemes, they drain your spirit. And that's exactly what's happening to the Rockets right now. You can see it on their faces, hear it in their interviews, feel it in the way they walk off the court. And now, as the Warriors prepare to head to Houston with a chance to close out the series, all eyes are on what comes next. But here's the thing, the league knows what happens when this team catches fire. They don't just go on a run, they go on a tear. And suddenly all the talk about who's the favorite, it starts to shift. Suddenly that team you counted out just 2 weeks ago looks like the most dangerous squad in the playoffs. And we haven't even talked about what's waiting for them next. Most likely, it's going to be the Timberwolves, who are also leading their own series 3-1. That matchup is going to be electric. But here's the truth. No matter who they face, the Warriors are in the zone. They've got veterans who've been here before, young players finding their confidence, coaches pulling the right strings. It's all coming together at the perfect time. The vibe has shifted. You can feel it. What the Warriors did last night wasn't just a basketball win. It was psychological. They're not just climbing the standings or adding to the win column. They're getting in their opponents' heads. They're planting doubt. And when a team like this starts to do that, the ripple effect runs through the entire league. Coaches start overthinking. Players start forcing shots. Rotations fall apart. And that's exactly the edge Golden State thrives on. Look at how the Rockets reacted after the game. That sharpness they came in with in Game 1, gone. The confidence dented. There's hesitation now. And in the playoffs, hesitation is death. Meanwhile, the Warriors are moving in the opposite direction. They're getting sharper, faster, more connected. It's like every challenge is pulling them closer together, tightening the bond, reinforcing that championship foundation. And it's not just about those on the stat sheet. The bench energy is electric. The body language is all in. Even players who aren't scoring are diving for loose balls, setting bone-crunching screens, and cheering like it's Game 7 of the finals. That energy is contagious. It lifts everyone. And it's turning games. Suddenly, opponents aren't just facing 5 guys on the court. They're facing a wave, a system, a culture. What makes this version of the Warriors so scary is the evolution. It's not just a rerun of their previous title runs. It's an upgrade. They've blended experience with youth, finesse with grit, firepower with structure. And they found a new gear. Players who used to be considered role players are stepping into big moments without flinching. Guys who rarely made headlines are now making game-winning plays. And every time someone doubts them, they respond with force. One of the most telling signs of where this team is mentally came in a post-game interaction between 2 players. A younger teammate walked up to one of the vets and jokingly asked, "Are we back?" The vet didn't even crack a smile, just nodded and said, "We never left." That right there, that's the mindset. That's what's fueling this run. It's not about proving people wrong. It's about proving themselves right. And while the Rockets are scrambling for answers, trying to figure out how to stop the bleeding, the Warriors are already looking ahead. That's what veteran teams do. They're not celebrating this win like it's a title. They know what it takes. They know this is just one step, but it's a step in the right direction. And with every game, the belief is growing stronger. Let's not forget about the coaching staff either. These guys are pulling the right strings every night. They're reading the game like a book, making subs at the perfect time, switching defensive schemes to disrupt rhythm, calling plays that exploit every mismatch. And when the players buy into that system, the whole machine runs smooth. You can see it in how quickly they transition from defense to offense. You can see it in how effortlessly they adjust mid-game. This is elite level preparation, championship level attention to detail. There was one play in the third quarter that summed up this team's mentality. A missed shot turned into a scramble. 3 Warriors hit the floor. The ball bounced around, chaos. But instead of backing off, they pounced. One of the youngest guys snagged the loose ball, kicked it out, and boom, 3-pointer, crowd erupts. Bench explodes. Timeout Rockets. That's the kind of sequence that breaks opponents. Not because of the score, but because of the message. We want this more than you. And now, with Game 5 looming, they smell blood. The opportunity to close out this series on the road in Houston is massive. It's not just about advancing. It's about doing it on enemy turf, making a statement, telling the rest of the league, we're still the standard. Because let's be real, when this team is healthy, locked in, and motivated, they're still the measuring stick. And everyone knows it. The Timberwolves are probably next. They got a 3-1 lead over the Lakers and look poised to finish things soon. That series will be no joke. Minnesota's young, hungry, physical. They play with a chip on their shoulder. But the Warriors, they've seen it all. And they've faced every type of opponent. They've beaten juggernauts, come back from deficits, silenced doubters, and they're doing it again. What's happening right now is more than just a good stretch. It's a resurgence, a team rediscovering its identity at exactly the right time. And that's bad news for the rest of the league. Because when a team like this starts to believe again, starts to click on every level, they become nearly unbeatable. You've got a veteran star putting up numbers like he's 25 again. A defensive anchor who shuts down entire offenses on his own. A young sharpshooter gaining confidence with every game. And a bench that brings intensity, energy, and heart. It's all coming together. The scary part? They're still not peaking. There's still more in the tank. More gears to shift into. If they get through this round and carry this momentum into the next, anything can happen. And at this point, nothing would be surprising. Not another finals appearance, not another ring, not another parade down Market Street, because this team is doing what championship teams do. Finding ways to win even when not everything is going perfectly. Adapting, growing, trusting each other. And maybe most importantly, believing. Believing that no matter the odds, no matter the noise, no matter the obstacles, they still have what it takes. They've silenced the critics before. They're doing it again. And with every game, every defensive stop, every dagger three-pointer, they're writing another chapter in a story that's far from over. This isn't nostalgia. This is now. This is real. And if you're paying attention, you know exactly where this is heading. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Golden State Warriors fans were dealt a heavy blow as news broke just hours before tip-off that Stephen Curry would not be available for tonight's crucial matchup. The franchise's superstar and four-time NBA champion suffered an injury that ruled him out of the game, leaving the Warriors without their primary offensive weapon in a season where every game matters. The exact nature of Curry's injury has not yet been fully disclosed by the team, but sources close to the organization have indicated it is serious enough to warrant caution. As a result, the Warriors' medical staff opted to hold him out of the lineup in order to prevent further complications. Curry was seen arriving at the Chase Center earlier in the day, walking with a noticeable limp and favoring one leg, which only deepened concerns about his short-term availability. This absence couldn't have come at a worse time for Golden State. The team is in the middle of a tightly contested playoff race in the Western Conference, where every win is crucial for seeding. Curry has been instrumental in keeping the Warriors afloat throughout the season, often shouldering the offensive burden and delivering in high-pressure moments. Without him on the floor, the team's dynamic shifts drastically, and the burden will now fall on players like Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green to step up. Head coach Steve Kerr addressed the media before the game, stating it's obviously a tough loss. Steph means everything to this team, but we have to move forward and compete. That's what we'll do tonight. Kerr did not provide a timeline for Curry's return, noting only that further evaluations would take place in the coming days. Fans and analysts alike will now be watching closely for updates, hoping the injury is not severe enough to sideline Curry for an extended period. For now, Golden State faces the daunting challenge of maintaining their postseason hopes without their biggest star. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.